and thank you for joining us here at GBS News 9. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathange. Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. To begin our bulletin, the Ministry of Education has revealed that 153,274 candidates who sat for the 2023 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education have been placed in universities under the student-centered funding model. Education Cabinet Secretary Machogu on Friday announced that the results of the funding application process will be released on the 31st of July 2024. Here is more on the same. The Ministry of Education has announced that the 2023 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education cohort will get to know the exact amount their parents will pay in fees before admissions in September. Out of the 201,146 candidates who qualified for the university entry in the 2023 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination, 153,274 students have been placed in various degree programs in universities. According to Machogu, as of May 2024, a total of 112,741 university students and 151,933 TVET learners applied for scholarships and loans from the university's fund and held respectively. A total of 24.76 billion Kenya shillings was disbursed to scholarships and loans for university students, while 11.3 billion Kenya shillings went to TVET trainees. With the second cohort of students joining universities set to receive financial support under the student-centered funding model, Machogu likewise clarified the funding process, noting that each degree program will be funded through three components: scholarships, loans, and parents' or guardians' contribution, with the allocation of each component based on assessed level of need of each applicant. Coffee farmers from Mutira Farmers Cooperative Society in Kirinyaga, Kenya, took to the streets to protest on the low payments they were receiving for their coffee crop, led by area MCA David Kenywa, who is also a member of the cooperative. The farmers marched from Mutitu to Kagumo, where the cooperative offices were located, to voice their grievances. The Mutira Farmers Cooperative Society was formed in 1951 and has 7 member factories: Mutitu, Kagumo, Ngorano, Mugaya, Kari, Kiagundu, and Kiamutira. Here are the details.
Coffee farmers from the Mutira's Farmers Cooperative Society in Kirinyaga, Kenya, took to the street to protest the low payments they were receiving for their coffee crop. Led by the area MCA David Kenywa, who is also a member of the cooperative, the farmers marched from Mutito to Kagumo, where the cooperative offices were located, to voice their grievances.
Niko hapa kushirikiana na wakulima wengine kwa vile tunaona kazi yetu, kuna mtu amekaa mbele yetu kusema kazi ambayo tumefanya kwa mwaka mzima ni kazi tupu. Na sasa tunataka kuambia wenye wako ofisi ni sisi tuliwapea kazi. Na hizo vitu wamekalia si za nyumbani, ni za wananchi.
Sisi tuko na ujumbe kwa viongozi wenye wako kwa ofisi saa hii. Hatutanyamaza, hatutakaa kimya tukiona wakulima wetu wakinyanyaswa. Tulikuwa tunatarajia mapato mzuri kwa kilimo yetu ya kahawa, na sasa tumeona hata factories zenye tulikuwa tunashinda kama Inoe Farmers saa hii wametushida. Wakulima wa Inoe walikuwa wamehamia Mutira, na sasa hata wao wana regret kwa nini walikuja Mutira.
The Mutira's Farmers Cooperative Society was formed in 1951 and has 7 member factories: Motito, Kagumo, Gorano, Mogaya, Kiakali, Kiagodo, and Kiamotira. The farmers made 4 key demands, and among them were the rejection of the current payment rates, an investigation of all board members, no confidence in the current board members, and independent auditing of the cooperative accounts.
Hiyo committee members, wanachama hao wote wa kutoka Mutira, tutawafuta kazi wote ili tuchague wanachama wengine ambao watashughulikia mambo ya mkulima na maneno ya mkulima, ndio tusikue tutauawa na ufukara.
Tumekasirishwa sana, ajilete yeye mwenyewe. Tunataka kutoa ujumbe kwamba leo hakuna kahawa tutauza kama pesa yetu hatunjapewa.
The cooperative has been receiving assistance from the coffee management services to increase coffee production through farmer training and input access. Peris Kego, GBS News.
A revenue allocation model of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling is expected to receive a push from regional political kingwins from across after the former Premier Raila Odinga announced his support to it. The same resource allocation conversation is expected to take center stage in the first Limuru 3 meeting that will be held in Thika on the 8th Saturday. Its founders have officially devolved it into counties and is expected to create a new wave in the political space. Davis Karani with the full report.
The political conversation is expected to take a new twist in the country as 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling national resource sharing formula is forming a base of new political structures in which its top pushers might use it to create a political vessel come 2027.
Probably because ile maoni nimetoa inaonekana kama inapendeza pahali ya watu pahali nimetoka, unasema huyu is a tribalist. Sasa nashangaa nimeona jana Raila Odinga, Mheshimiwa Prime Minister, amesema the same thing nilisema. Sijaona ameitwa tribalist. Nimeona Eugene Wamalwa amesema the same. Sijaona ameitwa tribalist.
The revenue allocation formula that was in the Building Bridges initiative is expected to take a center spread at the first Limuru 3 meeting led by Martha Karua and Jeremiah Kioni that will officially be devolved into all counties as from tomorrow after the team led by Kioni submitted the resolutions of the meeting to the former Premier Raila Odinga.
Together with Governor Nderito and 1 lady from that side, then the deputy party leader and the vice chair.
Devolution of Limuru 3 is expected to counter the newly reformed Tangatanga team led by parliamentarians supporting the president, which is also planning to move across the entire nation to explore and understand the ground as President Ruto instructed them to do.
I want to encourage you as members of parliament to represent your constituencies effectively, but to also move around Kenya so that you understand and discharge your responsibilities better of oversight and of legislation.
Odinga's support to 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling revenue sharing model has caused uproar since the president who is championing for his AUC bid was against this model. Will Odinga's decision on this allocation affect his AUC bid after going against his chief campaigner's will? Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
The tragic death toll of the Shakahola massacre involving followers of cult leader Paul Mackenzie has climbed to 446 following the exhumation of 7 more bodies on Monday. This grim discovery marks the 5th phase of an ongoing recovery exercise in Kilifi's Malindi area, shedding light on the horrifying extent of the atrocity and prompting serious concerns about the conditions and handling of the remains, with activists calling for the halt of the exhumation and the DNA result of the previous bodies released fast. Susan Nganga with the full report.
The death toll of the Shakahola massacre, believed to be the followers of cult leader Paul Mackenzie, has reached 446 after 7 more bodies were exhumed during the 5th phase of the recovery exercise in Kilifi's Malindi area. Chief Government Pathologist Dr. Johansen Odor confirmed the latest findings, with the bodies discovered in 4 graves, including 1 mass grave containing 4 bodies and 3 individual graves. Authorities expect the number to rise as approximately 50 more graves have been identified.
Today we are at Shakahola, at the site which we've been there for the last 1 year, more than 1 year, and we were back on the fifth phase 5 of exhumations. So we identified 3 graves, and in these 3 graves we were able to exhume about 7 bodies. One of the graves actually had 4 bodies, while the other 2 had one each, which make them a total of 7 bodies which we've exhumed today. Is an exercise which will go on, and as per what I know, we have about 50 graves which were identified, which we are going to work on until we finish up.
The bodies retrieved from the shallow graves in the first 4 phases have been stored in a single container mortuary. Due to decomposition, these bodies, originally estimated to be around 397, have shrunk and fit into a 40-foot container designed for 30 bodies. The ongoing exhumation has uncovered skeletons in phase 5, which started on Monday. The condition of the mortuary has raised concerns. Electricity to the mobile container mortuary was cut off following complaints from Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro about the high cost of electricity, forcing the use of gas for preservation.
Ya kwanza, ya pili, nimelipa bili ya stima na pesa wa watu wa Kilifi kuanzia mwaka jana mpaka saa hii nimetumia milioni 36 kulipa bili ya ile bili ya Shakahola. Nimetumia pesa kulipa vifaa vya watu walikuwa wanafanya kazi kule. Na serikali iko na hii mambo ya kitaifa. Mimi sina budget ya hiyo. Nikiulizwa na utajero litajibu nini?
Human rights activists from the coastal region, led by Matthias Shipeta of Haki Africa, have voiced concerns about the large number of bodies still at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital mortuary.
Mili zaidi ya 429 zilizokuwa hapa, sasa tumeziongezea tena zingine. Ile exercise kule tunaomba isimamishwe, tufanye DNA results. Watu wapate mili yao, wazike, waanze process ya kuhili. Kwa sababu tunajua watu wengi wako na vidonda, wako na uchungu mwingi sana kuhusu mambo ya Shakahola. Kwa hivyo ni wakati imefika serikali tutoe results za DNA, tupiane mili na tusupport families waende kuzika hizi mili.
Wale waliofanywa DNA sampling walichukuliwa ni karibu watu 600, lakini wale ambao wameweza kupewa mili yao ni kama watu, familia 8. Na katika wale 36 ambao walikuwa DNA zilikuwa positively identified na familia zao, only 8 have been able to be given their bodies.
While starvation appears to be the main cause of death, some victims, including children, were strangled or suffocated, according to Dr. Odor. The Shakahola victims were allegedly lured into the forest by Mackenzie to starve to death to apparently see Jesus Christ.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our news segment tonight. But first, let us take a quick break. We'll be right back with even more.
So through the 4 gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth. And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins. And he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins. And he was put into the tomb and resurrected in 3 days. This is the gospel that we speak. About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified. He was crucified to pay for our sins. And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean. However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
And remember, the topic of the day is embracing one's role as a single man.
Ile ingine ni kutengwa na watu. Watu wengi ukiona single mother akiongea na bwanako, maindi zao zinakuanga tu bwana kuimbia.
Kuna any organization inaweza kuwa at least hata ile msupport ama ni wewe tumengangana kivyako akaingia hivyo.
Pesa creams wenye wanatumianga but before unjuane na hao mama akina kuanga ngumu. Unapatanga huyo mtoto already amechange yokara, juu afai kukaa kwa njua.
Kuna hiyo organization inakuanga na plans za kuongelesha watoto.
Kama wazazi
in the future wanaji accept. By the time wana realize they are not different. They are different.
I think akili yangu ilikuja kuona kabisa niko peke yangu. Ni penye saa unapigia handi au mambeste kuna mtu anakuchukulia simu. Na mimi nilikuanga na mambeste wengi. Mimi niliachiwa tu mmoja. Anaitwa Shkosheila. Akiona hii video, thank you so much mama.
Thank you Shiko.
Akukosangi enjoy. Alisimama na mimi.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. Soft drink makers have urged Parliament to block a proposal in the Finance Bill 2024 to impose a 10% tax on locally manufactured plastics, warning that it would trigger a rise in the cost of business, packaged product as well as job sheds. Appearing before the National Assembly's Committee on Finance and National Planning today, Coca-Cola said the proposed change to Excise Duty Act will subject locally made plastics to tax. Here is more on the same.
Beverage manufacturer Coca-Cola has opposed the proposed 10% levy on locally manufactured plastics. In the Finance Bill 2024, the American soft drink maker, during a public participation forum at the National Assembly's Committee on Finance and National Planning, told lawmakers that the proposed tax is a double charge of what already exists and risks creating unfavorable business environment in the country, a factor that could scare away investors. According to Coca-Cola, the proposed eco-tax is likely to complicate tax compliance and ultimately scale down government revenue. In other business updates, only 1.1 million micro, small and medium enterprises in Kenya have access to formal credit, out of the total 7.4 million SMEs in the country. This equals to only 16% of businesses, reaping from Kenya's formal MSMEs financing market, valued at $45.4 billion. This is according to a new finding by a Pan-African Market Insights firm Stairs, which shows that despite MSMEs accounting for over 98% of businesses and contributing a substantial 40% to GDP, formal financing is still minimal. The survey further shows that small and medium enterprises represent just 14% of bank loan accounts. Notably, banks are strongly inclined towards medium-sized enterprises, directing a substantial 86% of loan accounts in 2022 to this segment. Key sectors benefiting include trade, real estate and transport. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
Mama Pauline Pakire, 84, is a renowned traditional birth attendant in Ola City, Ndelele and Suswa areas of Narok East Sub-County. We met her at Ola City Health Center, attending to a young woman who had just given birth to a bouncing baby girl after she had rushed her to the hospital in the late hours of the night. Here are the details.
Mama Pauline Parkire, 84 years old, a renowned traditional birth attendant in Olasite, Tulele and Suswa areas of Narok East Sub-County. We met her at Olasite Health Center attending to a young woman who had given birth to a bouncing baby girl after she had rushed her to the hospital in the late hours of the night. We sat at the hospital's waiting bay as she attended to the young mother who had given birth.
Majina, naitwa Milton Parikire. Huyu ni mamangu. Anaitwa Paulina Parikire. Na this is my wife, anaitwa Helen Parikire. Huyu mama amesaidia sana. Most of the time Saa zingine hata anaweza kaa kama wiki mbili kama yuko nyumbani, usaidia kuzaa kazi ya ukunga wa mama.
The medics at the health center seemed to be comfortable with the old mama attending to the patient in the delivery room.
Since I came here, maternity services was very low because we used to get 0 delivery in a month. But due to community dialogues, community participation, on engaging them on the benefits and of delivery or good services in delivery, and using TBS, up to date, we are getting 10 to 20 mothers in a month. Due to the knowledge we have managed to give the community people through the SEK trainings also on TBS, and even healthcare workers on the issues of EMOX. And I can say in summary, since we get those trainings or we get sensitization in the community dialogues, our really maternity deliveries has improved.
When she finished attending to her patient, she came walking majestically towards our direction with a gentle smile on her face. At the first glance, you would guess she is in her mid-50s until she shows her identification card that proves she was born back in 1940. As she organized herself for our interview, she received numerous phone calls from women in labor who wanted her help. Others who were calling were women with pregnancy complications.
Anaitwa Paulina Parkile.
Na lasiti nyana amanya.
Kwake ni hapo lasiti.
Na ninye shiasishore nanu.
Na anafanyia kazi huku.
Tialo enjoto esibitali.
Kwa hospitali.
Angara ebietisho, amuri shibietisho na ingishon.
Wakati yoyote ya afya.
Amuri ene ore etilo wanaga ngop ni ingishon peyetumi iltung'anak.
Watu wakiwa ni lazima wasane wapatikane.
Ore tengiteru.
Kwa mwanzo
matana wanaitero nanu kitoyore.
Alianza kusalisha kwa miaka za kitambo.
Kagira baitoisho ndomono tiang.
Alikuwa anawasalisha nyumbani.
Kage mianganga yeponu.
Sio nyumbani kwake.
Ngangire aloito nanu.
Anaenda boma kwa boma.
Nala itoyu ndomonok.
Anaenda kuwasalisha.
Ore tarabi wonu atumia na biotisho.
Wakati walipokuja kupata mafundisho,
nikitu sibitali,
wakapata maternity ama hospitali.
Neaku nyera raya undomonok.
Sasa anawaleta maternity.
Meude raya ito undomonok tongangiti.
Sasa haendi maboma sawa kuwasalisha.
Amanoto sibitali.
Kwa maana amepata hospitali yenye iko na maternity.
Ore tanara piki nepupu atiene.
Mnapompata akiwa hapa saa hizi
saa naudo ngarie duayu.
Alikuja saa 9 usiku.
Amakalonga ngiti kawarie badala ndomononi ajo keisho nayao.
Anaenda kwa boma, akiona mama ako na leba analeta.
Amanoto nayau anote ewe nalotu.
Maana amepata mahali ya kuwaleta.
Esarunoto enkishi oltau.
Mahali ambapo inaokoa wamama.
Ore pee alotu ana sipitali,
akija hapa hospitalini,
nalotu atum enkishon.
Anakuja kupata uhai.
Amu ketii ntokitin naanyamal.
Maana kuna vitu vingi changamoto.
Eisho ntomononi tiang.
Mama anajifungua nyumbani.
Nemetumo sindano ele lonkuvesir.
Hapati shindano ya baridi ama oxytocin.
Nemetum neaku mitun tiang.
Sasa pale nyumbani hakuna shindano.
Nikiponu atum eretoto.
Na hapo hospitalini wanapata usaidizi.
Meekure apa itoki ntomonok toonkang'itie.
Siku hizi hawasalishi nyumbani.
Tenkaraki eretoto.
Kwa maana ya usaidizi ya hospitali.
Amu atodua ajo ketii masaidisi.
Kwa maana ameona hospitali iko na usaidizi.
Osesen peetum entomononi.
Ya mama kupata afya mzuri.
Ana ilo sindano.
Kama shindano hiyo.
Ene eisho.
Mama ajifungue vizuri na asikwe na madhara.
Amelo nelaikine enkerai atupuku tooloudo.
Saa zingine kuna wengine wako na tight delivery.
Na ore paayau ena sipitali.
Na akileta hapo hospitalini.
Natumore ile dakitari.
Apatane na daktari wenye wako.
Ore ipimito sii ninye.
Anapowapima.
Nikidol ajo mepuku ena kerai.
Naye akiona kuna ugumu.
Ore tena wiki ake.
Kwa wiki hii.
Nkolong'i taata 100 naata.
Ako na siku mingi sana.
Neyetu adol naitanap ninye nanu naya ena tomononi Narok.
Na kuna mama nimewahi mtuma waende naye Narok.
Nepuoi adanyu enkerai tenkoshoke.
Akaenda kufanyiwa cesarean section.
nikidol sipitali ajo eretoto.
Wakaona hospitali ni ya umuhimu.
Amu tenemepuku enkerai naa lazima peeyieng'i.
Kwa maana kama kuna ugumu wanaelekezwa.
Netum ina kerai biotisho.
Na wale wamama wanapata usaidizi.
Netum entomononi biotisho.
Na mama na mtoto wake.
Neeku ore oshi atii nanu ena sipitali, katii nanu kewarie o dama.
So ako hii hospitali usiku na mchana.
So talented is Mama Pauline that she can detect the sex of the unborn child and confirm how old the fetus is by placing her finger on the mother's tummy. Her last-born son, Milton Parkey, says that his mother is always busy attending pregnant women who come to consult her on matters of their pregnancy. In case of complications, she has the knowledge of which herbs to use on specific condition so that one can be healed.
Na sometimes anapelekwa mahali ndio hata kama huyu mama mjamzito anaweza kuwa na kasaro kidogo, anaweza tumia madawa ile ya kienyeji na inamponyesha. Kama kuna maji kwa tumbo, kuna dawa anampatia, hiyo maji inaisha kwa tumbo. Na zingine hata anapelekwa huku hospitali kusaidia. Alafu hiyo conference ya kwenda kufundishana, zingine anapelekwa hadi huku Ndulele, anaenda kusaidia kufundisha.
Mama Margaret Koilel, a midwife too, says she has learned a lot of skills from Mama Pauline.
Jina yangu inaitwa Margaret Koilel. Hii mama anaitwa Paulina, ndio tunaletanga hii wasichana yetu. Hata yeye ananifundishanga nisalishe. Hata mimi inasalisha juu yeye ananifundisha. Yeye hata alali kwake. Nalala maboma naitwa lakini ikisikia mtoto sio mzuri na kutuma mbele. Tena siku hizi tunaleta tu watoto hapa asalishe hospitali. Tunapeleka tu, tunaita tu pikipiki alete tu nyumbani. Na alipo hapa hospitali shauri watu wote yeye natuma upande hii. Kikuja kwangu kama mimi nimeleta hiyo msichana ya kijana yangu ndio naona inakuja na yeye. Na alikuwa inapeleka kwake, akapigia simu akasema iko hospitali. Sasa yeye nikaleta akuja angalie tumbo. Shauri hiyo msichana ate kikohoa kidogo inatoa makojo.
The International Women's Day national celebration will be held in Embu County with the theme Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. Sylvia Makori, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That report brings us to our international news, but first let us take a quick commercial break.
Today on the show we are talking about nurturing their emotional intelligence in children.
The parents of this generation, they are very busy. Yeah. Whereby we have left the gadgets to be in charge and the house managers.
Especially when you're thinking about yourself, there are 3 levels of thoughts. There is the first level, there is the second level of thought, and there is also the third level of thought.
What is nurturing a child in the emotional intelligence way?
A lot of focus has been put on the intelligence.
And when we talk about desire and self-control, desire is something that is in our hearts. But self-control does not come from within us.
And at what age are we supposed now to start molding our children and correcting whenever they're doing wrong? Welcome to Fun Story Class. Friend, today I'm going to read the story of the ant and the grasshopper. Friend, this is a very interesting story, so listen carefully. The ant and grasshopper were good friends. The grasshopper was enjoying the fine weather, playing all day. He asked the ant for food, and ant gave him some. But my food is just enough for my family to last until the end of winter. If I give you more, we too will starve.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and now to matters international news. In a significant diplomatic, moving on, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov concluded his African tour with a working visit to Chad on Wednesday, June 5th, a tour that included stops in Guinea, the Republic of Congo and Burkina Faso. During his visit to Chad, Lavrov met his Chadian counterpart Abderrahmane Koulamala and President Mahamat Idris Deby Itno. Sergei underlined that Russia's relations with Chad were not directed against other countries, including France, which considered the region its sphere of influence. He further guaranteed that Russia's friendship with Chad would not affect its relations with France in any way, stating that France had an approach where the countries were either with them or against them. Here is more on the same.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov landed in N'Djamena, Chad on Wednesday, June 5th, where he was wrapping up an African tour which included stops to Guinea, the Republic of Congo and Burkina Faso. During his working visit, the Russian minister met with his Chadian counterpart Abderrahmane Koulamala, and on the war on Ukraine he said the West was not concerned about peace. For decades, Central Africa and Western Africa have been considered as spheres of influence for France. Sergei Lavrov emphasized that Russia's relations with Chad are not directed against other countries in any way. The Federation's outreach to Africa in recent years has contributed to the complex geopolitical field on the continent, with observers dubbing this battle of influence as the battle for Africa. Political analyst Babada Kono believed the security situation in the Sahel region has prompted changes in the region. Thomas Musyoki, GBS News.
Beekeeping is thriving in Uganda, with the country producing between 100,000 and 200,000 metric tons of honey annually, according to the Uganda Investment Authority. The growing demand suggests significant potential for further expansion, with the Uganda Investment Authority highlighting on the need to boost production volumes and protect the declining bee population. Here are the details.
Jang, a bee farmer and honey entrepreneur, began keeping bees as a hobby inspired by her grandmother's backyard beehives.
Mother had hives in her backyard. So really, just before we started, the only experience I had with honey was eating it from comb as a child.
For nearly a decade, Ejang has turned her passion into a profitable business. Her brand, Asali Wamoyo, has become a staple on store shelves.
But this year, we are pulling up greatly as we become more commercial. That means we are really catering for everybody. We have the higher end customers, we have the lower end customers, we are looking at hotels and restaurants. We basically have everybody covered in honey.
Ejang business isn't limited to honey. She also produces beeswax, medicinal products, and honey-based beauty items. Despite the successes, challenges remain. The Uganda Investment Authority highlights the needs to boost production volumes and protect the declining bee population. Antonio Quirido, the FAO representative in Uganda, emphasizes.
As we developed, it is important that we are also conscious of the role that the bees play in the agri-food system and adopt practice that really does not kill them, but also foster their development because they are fundamental.
Sadra Ejang's ambition is clear. The beekeeping sector in Uganda holds promise, and with entrepreneurs like Ejang leading the way, the future looks sweet. Paris Kego, GBS News.
The Israeli settlers in the West Bank have been hit with international sanctions over allegations of attacks and harassment against Palestinians. The sanctions have been met with defiance from the Israeli government, with France Minister Bezalel Smotrich vowing to intervene on behalf of the sanctioned settlers. Palestinians in the region have also expressed fear and frustration over the settler violence and land seizures, claiming that the Israeli government was not doing enough to stop the settlers and that the sanctions were not sufficient to deter them. However, the Israeli government has continued to support the settlers and the situation remains tense. Here are the details.
Israeli settlers continue expanding on Palestinian hilltops despite international sanctions. Figures like Elisha Yered, a hilltop youth member, remain active. He has set up several outposts near Maskiot, undeterred by the European Union and UK sanctions. Some settlers like Union Levy in the South Hebron Hills face financial freezes. However, community support and political backing quickly restored their access to funds. Far-right officials, including Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, have promised to aid those affected.
Not there. The state is there in order to help the settlers, in order to break, to shatter any sense of the rule of law.
Palestinians are losing land and facing more violence due to the expanding Israeli settlements. Since the Gaza war, unauthorized land grabs in the West Bank have surged. Yet these outposts report constant fear and harassment. Settlement watchdog Kerem Navot notes that settlers use farming outposts to take more land aggressively. With minimal government intervention, Palestinians are losing significant parts of their homes and livelihoods.
Today, renewing calls for an end to the sharp rise in deadly violence in the occupied West Bank since the 7th of October.
As the West Bank conflict deepens, settlers push forward despite sanctions, while Palestinians see their land and security eroded. The focus on Gaza overshadows these critical developments, highlighting the enduring challenges to peace in the region. Alex Mwangi, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. And now for sports lovers, it is time for your most anticipated part of the news, the sports news. Let's get sporty. The Kenya Under-17 Girls National Team Junior Starlets head coach Mildred Cheche has named 23 players for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup qualifiers first leg match against Burundi. This match is scheduled to be played on Sunday, the 9th of June at Abebe Bikila Stadium in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The second leg of this fourth and final round of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup qualifiers will be played on Sunday, the 16th of June. After the two legs, the winners on aggregate will secure an automatic qualification to the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in October, which will be held in Dominican Republic. The team is set to depart for Ethiopia on Friday, the 7th of June at 6 p.m. and will fly back home on Monday, the 10th of June, 2024.
I believe after the first leg, it will be easier to tell, or during the match, it will be easier to tell whether they are a strong side or not. But we cannot underrate any opponent. We are going there full force as we've prepared, and I think also for them, they're fully prepared. So whoever prepares well carries the day. Tactically, I cannot speak a lot about it, but the team, we've adjusted in several ways, also according to how the opponent plays. Both of us are playing away, both the opponent and us. Also having played there before, also for them having played there before. I think it's a good challenge. It's a 50-50 match, so everyone wants to win.
For now, venye tunarudi huko hivyo round 2, at least tulifilio grao. Sahii tumejua venye iko, si mbaya. Venye tunaenda huko hivyo, tunaenda kutia bidii. At least tulisha work out about venye tulicheza na Ethiopia, tumerekebisha penye tulienda wrong. At least sasa hivi tunaenda huko, tunaenda ku give our best.
Moving on, Vikas Queens and Kakamega Starlets will face off in the final of Women's Division 1 playoffs after their respective victories over the Fortune Ladies and Makolandes FC. The playoffs, which began today at Dandora Stadium, are part of the process to crown the overall winner of the Women's Division 1 League. All zone winners from A to D have participated. In the first match, Vickers Queens defeated Fortune Ladies with a strong performance. Luyali Josephine scored a brace with her first goal coming in the 16th minute to put Vickers ahead. Lavenda Othiambo extended the lead in the 51st minute and Josephine sealed the victory with another goal in the 80th minute. The second match was an exciting contest between Kakamega Starlets and Macolanders FC, featuring end-to-end action. Despite numerous saves by Macolanders, keeper Owendi Ida Malina Gradwell found the back of the net in the 84th minute, securing the win for Kakamega Starlets. The final of the Division 1 playoffs will take place tomorrow, Saturday, the 8th of June, alongside the FKF National Super League playoffs. The FKF Showdown will feature 2 playoff matches. The early kickoff at 12 noon will determine which team secures the final FKF Women Premier League spot between Kayole Starlets, which is second in Zone A, and Kisped Queens, which is second in Zone B.
Napiga ndefu kumtafuta Hana Mbithe. Mbithe anapiga nini? Ameweza kuyajibu makeke ambayo aliweza kuonyesha. Huku Charity kwenye kiungo cha kati. Apiga pasi nzuri kwa Nechesa Lilian. Lilian inaletwa Nechesa, hatari nini? Yupo mlinda lango Owendi Eda. Inaletwa ndefu, kajibu. Hatari, anatokeza Gladwell, hatari! Goal! Dakika ya 84. Gladwell Malina wanapiga densi midhili ya gari moshi. Gladwell Malina.
Nafaa nishukuru players wangu. We have worked according to our objective. Our main target was to play final. And as we have watched the game, when you compare the first game and this last game, I think this was like a final. So to me, tomorrow's game
is number 1. So inamaanisha tumesonga next level. So tunacheza NSL na naambia watu wanacheza NSL tunakuja kama Kakamega Starlets wajiprepare kufungwa mabao.
Kwanza congratulations kwa Kakamega Starlets, and then sioni kama kuna shida. Imekuwa tu game poa, anybody could have won it. Tunge underrate Kakamega, tulikuja tukijua.
Kenya's Harambee Stars secured a 1-1 draw against Burundi to remain third in Group F, 2 points below leaders Ivory Coast, who have a game in hand. Ivory Coast face Gabon, who are second in the table, and the tie points later at night. The winner will top Group F. Here are the details.
Stars opened the score in the 72nd minute through Duke Abuya after he scored from a rebound after his first shot was blocked by Burundi's keeper Nahimana. Burundi equalized later on in the 85th minute when substitute Abdallah Sudi left-footed shot from the center of the box. Kenya is third in the group with the same points as Burundi, only to lead on a goal difference of 4 goals. So far, Kenya has lost 1 game to Gabon when they were beaten 2-1. Kenya has also won 1 game against Seychelles when they thrashed Seychelles 5-0. Kenya will face Ivory Coast in their next match on Tuesday, 11th June next week. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
And that sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. Here at GBS News 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.